until we had started. Birds everywhere. Way to start the show.
How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. I'm sure you've heard this intro one time too many. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike The Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good, my friend. This is a funny way to start. Feels like that's the perfect way to start this episode, man. I swear.
Yeah, this is, man, I don't know what to think about this matchup we have going, Mike. We're going to discuss it, but it's interesting.
It really it's when you start the season and you look at the schedule, LW split these two games. Okay, yeah. This one. Oh, Texans Jags WW, and now you almost blew the first one, and now here comes Jags, not looking like an easy W at all.
Yeah, it's funny, Mike, because we had RJ Ochoa on. Shout out to him from the boys, blogging with the boys, editor in chief there, and we were talking about this part of the schedule. And I had asked if the AFC South was like the toughest part of the schedule, at the time, and you guys were like both like, no, I don't think so, because these teams aren't going to be very good. But you look at that Indianapolis Colts game, we were only up by 2 points heading into the fourth quarter. We had to have a 98-yard game-winning drive to beat the Texans. We know that the Titans are leading the division right now, but they're a physical defense. They've got a strong run game. And you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've won 3 of their last 5 games, and they kind of look like they're figuring things out, and they've got an explosive offense. This division is tougher than people give it credit for.
It's also hard that the teams you don't know the most, like the Cowboys going and playing. I know last year they got their butt kicked by the opposite division team too. I think might have been Raiders, Chargers, Kansas City, and maybe that was the year before.
No, that was last year. We lost to the Raiders on Thanksgiving. We lost to Kansas City 4 days before that. We beat the Chargers in like week 3, and then we got beat by the Broncos. That's when like everybody started using that kind of shell coverage.
They killed us. Yeah. Yep.
1-3 against that division, man.
Yeah, I just feel like we've struggled against the AFC team across the way, the teams we don't know as well. Maybe it's a QB thing. Maybe he's more comfortable against teams he knows. That's why he kills the NFC East so much.
Hey, you never know. Shots fired at Dak Prescott, not something we hear on this show too often.
No, I mean, I don't think it's like, you have struggles there. Not every game. There's the Raiders game. They scored 30-something points,
Yeah. True that. Well, Mike, before we get into our discussion tonight, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Mike, let's go ahead and get after it. I know in his draft class that you and Dan Rupert, shout out to Dan Rupert there on Twitter for the 4D podcast, you guys weren't very high on Trevor Lawrence coming out. Do you remember what it was that you didn't really like about Trevor Lawrence coming out of college?
That's not me. That might have been Dan. Trevor Lawrence was my top player overall, let alone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be an Andrew Luck, and maybe now he's starting to turn that corner. He wasn't, maybe an Urban Meyer thing kind of set him back a little bit, but
oh yeah.
No, he was my number one player. Like I thought he was going to be one of those all-time quarterbacks. I still think he is. I just he has so many tools, and he's starting to get going now. So let's see what he can do.
Do you think if the Jaguars had their choice, would they have taken Trevor Lawrence or Micah Parsons, do you think?
Over again?
Yeah.
Man, that's rough. About a month ago, I'd have told you Parsons easily. But now, because the QB position is so important, and Lawrence is he looks like he could be a real one. I think Lawrence would be it, but it would be like there would be a battle in the building, even though it was a quarterback. Like the defensive team would be like, no, dude, forget your quarterback. Get a different quarterback. This guy's one of a kind edge rusher. So it would be a battle. I think the QB would win, though. Barely.
That's high praise, really, for both Trevor Lawrence and Micah Parsons, all things considered.
Yeah, Michael Parsons is a better player. He's surgical, right? Like he's just crazy. He does everything. But the position, that's why quarterback gets picked, 3 of the top 5 half the years of the draft, so just because it's the QB. Now every other QB in that, Fields and I think Parsons goes over Fields and Lance and Zach Wilson easy.
I don't know, man. I feel like Fields, dude, before he got injured, he was really starting to show some things too.
He was, but not enough to go Michael Parsons like.
Oh, really?
You gotta be a really great quarterback to win over that kind of like what could be a Ray Lewis, Reggie White, Warren Sapp impact type of guys.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see because I know maybe it was just Dan Rube, but I could swear for some reason I thought it was you too. But I know that he liked Fields more than Lawrence coming out, and there was a couple of other people who did as well.
It's Ohio State.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
his Ohio State bias.
At the time when Fields kind of got hot, Trevor Lawrence was still kind of looking like he had some questions about him. But I feel like they're always going to be compared to each other. It'll be fun to see those guys develop, though.
I agree. They both look like studs, maybe in different ways. I don't know if Fields could ever pass the way Lawrence can, but Lawrence can't run the way Fields can. So, pick your poison.
Exactly. So, Mike, you were touching on it there a bit, but looking at Trevor Lawrence, is he starting to look like the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, that's what I was saying is obviously if I believe you're going to take him over Parsons, he better be like legit. And this season's been a record-breaking one for him. He already through 14 games has the most games with a 105 passer rating or higher with 30-plus attempts. And he's throwing 70% completion most games and 1 touchdown, no picks.
The wow.
Only other, QB to get that was Drew Brees in 2013. It's the only person
Holy cow.
And he's done it in 2 less games.
Yeah. Mike, just to add to that, I feel like because of his coaching situation last year, Lawrence didn't really get the chance to show why he was the number 1 overall pick. But so far this year, he has a completion percentage of over 65%. He's 9th in passing yards with over 3,000. He's 10th in the league in passing TDs with 20, and he only has 6 interceptions on the year. And 6 of the Jags' 8 losses have been by single digits, which is usually the case with young teams. Lawrence is not only showing why he was the number 1 overall pick, but he's also showing that he's a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you.
Well, what about Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence and who else on this Jags team worries you, Mike?
You know what's funny about this when researching this is really you could pick Etienne, Zay Jones, Kirk, maybe even Ingram, and it wouldn't like they're all pretty like Zay Jones is like 60 something receptions, somewhere around 800 or 600, 700 yards and 2 touchdowns. Etienne has somewhere around 600 to 800 yards rushing. I want to say, I can't remember exactly, but and then I chose Christian Kirk because he has 7 touchdowns, but he's 67 receptions, 874 yards. So I just chose him because he's getting in the end zone more. But it's pretty, pretty big that how even it's distributed throughout these weapons.
Yeah, very. Doug Peterson's doing a good job of getting his playmakers, opportunities to do something with the ball. You mentioned Travis Etienne. That's who I went with. In his last 3 games, he's only had over 70 total yards just 1 time. But in the 5 games before that, he had over 100 total yards in every game. He has 13 plays over 20 yards or more. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run routes like a receiver. I just feel like it's very Cowboys-esque for Etienne to have break out of his slump against us.
Yeah, he'll be a matchup problem for sure. I agree. He'll, like Diggs could go on if they put Diggs on Kirk, he'd probably hold him to a couple of catches under 50 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they match up with ATN. I don't think the safeties would be okay for the tight ends, but I don't know how they'd match up with that running back. So I'm interested to see what they do there.
Going up against Tony Pollard, I'm sure they're going to have a good idea of how to stop a player like that.
Yeah, that's the hope. He's definitely can mimic him in practice. So that's the hope.
When you look at Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, who should Dallas focus on stopping, Mike?
I gotta give the edge to Lawrence, and I know people worry about our run defense, but their pass game's on fire right now. And like we just talked about, they got weapons: 2 receivers that could hurt you, a running back that could hurt you, a tight end that's like a third receiver. I just think he's throwing like 70% completions over the last 6 games, I think it is, and the 105 passer rating. He's got the record for that in 2 less games than Drew Brees said he is. Like, he's really killing right now. And as bad as we've been versus the run earlier in the year, the last few weeks they've been pretty good. So I think they got to focus more on Trevor Lawrence.
Mike, can you imagine going up against the Jaguars with not only the pieces you've already mentioned, but then also them having Calvin Ridley, dude?
Oh, nasty.
Dude,
hopefully
so
that
nasty,
guy can come back next year, dude. But we don't play their ass.
Yeah, man, that's going to be a fun offense to watch for sure.
Yeah, it is. And the quarterback is that type of dude. So it's going to be really exciting. That they could be on the come up as everyone else. The Colts don't have a quarterback without Ryan. Texans Texans obviously have a long way to go. And then the Titans are kind of falling back. Like, how many carries can Derrick Henry have? How strong is that defense going to before it's beat down by the style they play? Can Tannehill win you? So if Trevor Lawrence is that guy over the next 3 years, they can control that division.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Just kind of going back to the question here, Mike, about should Dallas focus on stopping Trevor Lawrence or Travis Etienne? In 9 games so far this season, the Cowboys' opponents have rushed for 100 yards or more, but in those 9 games, Dallas only lost 3 of those. And in those same 3 games, the quarterback either passed for over 150 yards, had multiple touchdowns, or did both. Like you, Mike, I think Dallas needs to focus on stopping Trevor Lawrence, sir.
Yeah, I agree. This isn't, an elite running back that you have to worry about. Their O-line's pretty good, but right now it's that passing game that's moving the Jaguars.
Yes, sir. Looking at the Jaguars, what strengths do they have that they could exploit the Cowboys with?
Their O-line is underrated. I think they have 6 of 13 games I read where they allowed no sacks.
Oh, Lord.
And I believe that's a record for this season right now. Like, they have the most.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can neutralize our pass rush, that and Lawrence can let those deep routes develop, which is what he likes to throw. There could be a lot of trouble. He leads the league in completion percentage in passes over 10 yards. And he's just killing right now. So yeah, that could be an issue if their O-line could shut us down.
One thing I don't think Trevor Lawrence gets enough credit for is his mobility, Mike. He's mobile. He's an accurate passer. They also, look at the Jaguars. They have Trevor Lawrence. Like I mentioned, he's a mobile quarterback. He's an accurate passer. They have a running back who's a threat to take one to the house at any given moment. They're 11th in the league with 33 touchdowns scored. I feel like Trevor Lawrence, man, he could exploit this Cowboys again because he's a dual threat quarterback. He's got over 200 rushing yards this season, and he's got to believe maybe just 2 rushing TDs, but I feel like it's 4. But I can't remember. I didn't write it down.
Yeah, that he's going to be a problem, man. This game is, man, when you looked at it early, you notched it in the W compartment, and it's looking like a tough game right now.
Yeah, like if you wrote it in ink, if you wrote the W in ink, you're looking for that whiteout just to go over it, just to make sure, man. You know what I mean?
Yep. And with Eagles next week, Cowboys better be focused. I hope that Texans game woke them up.
Yeah, I sure hope so too. I think that was the type of game that should have woke you up. You know what I mean? And that's can be a one of those humbling games. You know?
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. We need them to come out fast and get going, get a lead on them, then see if they can work their way back.
Oh God, can you imagine going down like 14-3 in the halftime against the Jaguars?
Problem. That's an L right there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there, Mike. I feel like this game's going to go either way. We'll talk about it a little bit more. I feel it's going to go one or two ways, but we've talked about the Jacksonville strengths. Well, what weaknesses does Jacksonville have that the Cowboys could exploit?
They have a bottom 5 pass defense in the league. They're not great. They allow a lot of pass yards, and it's something that we could attack with Gallup, Lamb, Schultz, Pollard. We're going to talk about how we want them to play the game later on, but if it comes down to it, the third down, they could be really good on third downs because they keep completing passes on the Jaguars.
Yeah, I was looking at it, Mike, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this answer, but in all honesty, I really think experience is how it's going to be the difference maker in this game. This is kind of a big game, not only for Dallas, but also for the Jaguars too, because you look at that AFC South, I don't think the Titans really have a stranglehold on it. Jaguars could easily slip in there and, kind of win that 7th wild card seed. With a victory this week, I think they'd only be one game behind the Titans, and I think they still play the Titans. So, I think experience is the difference maker.
Yeah, I don't hate that. It's going to be a bigger game for Jaguars, and it's going to be their biggest game of the year. So, well, they know what to do in big games like that. The coach does, but will he be able to pass that to his players?
I was looking at the schedule, and I'm surprised when you look at the afternoon games that this game didn't get flexed to like prime time.
Well, you know why? Is because the games, the CBS wants to keep the Cowboys too. They don't want NBC to get every Cowboys game. So a lot of times they'll be like, no, this is our game, our afternoon game or our morning game, and they'll keep it themselves.
Well, no, I'm surprised it didn't get flexed from 12 o'clock to like 3:25, which 3:25 is still considered prime time. I don't know.
I got you. Yeah, that could have happened. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't either.
Because we've got the Cardinals and Denver facing off at 3:25 in some states, Mike.
Woof, dude. Ugh. That is the Cardinals without Kyler Murray, and the Broncos may not have Russell Wilson either. Even if they do, they're very.
I know. Dude, I saw a stat that currently Jamal Williams of the Detroit Lions has 14 TDs, and the Denver Broncos offense as a whole has 14 TDs.
Whoa.
How gross is that?
That is nasty. Man,
oh, man.
What happened there? And that coach was an offensive coach they hired.
Yeah.
Trash.
I don't know, man. It's such a crazy thing, the Denver Broncos. What a weird story that's been this year.
They could have had Dan Quinn too.
Man. Thank God they don't. All right, Mike, this was an interesting question by you, especially after you mentioned you shared that stat with 6 games of not giving up a sack by the Jaguars offensive line. But do you think the Cowboys can win this game, another game, because we didn't get a sack last week, but can they win another game without getting a sack, do you think?
I think it's unlikely this game because of the way their quarterback's playing.
Yeah.
If they register no sacks, man, you're relying then on Trevor Lawrence making a mistake because of pressure. And I don't know if that's where you want to be. You'd rather be bringing him down. And so I'm going to say no. If they have no sacks, they're not going to win.
Man, I was shocked, dude, when I saw that he had 20 pass TDs, but only 6 interceptions. I mean, for a second-year guy, dude, in a new system, really his first year in that system, that's impressive.
He is killing right now. He is showing why he was the top guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely is. Going back to that question, though, can the Cowboys win this game if the defense gets 0 sacks? It'll be tough, but we've done it once already, Mike. Lawrence hasn't made many mistakes this season, but I feel like if we can get pressure and get him off balance, that could be as good as getting a sack. I know he doesn't throw a lot of picks, but maybe forcing him to throw it out of bounds, forcing incompletion, just kind of getting him out off a rhythm. That could be something that goes in Cowboys' favor.
I would just like to point out that one game that they won where they didn't get any sacks was a 98-yard drive in the last couple minutes against the Texans. So, I mean,
dude,
it makes me nervous. I want them to they need to bring Lawrence down a few times.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I don't want them to not get any sacks, but just, answering the question, I feel like if we can get him off of his spot, maybe make him throw more on the run than he's used to, that could prove to be favorable for us.
Yeah, if we didn't get any sacks, he's definitely going to have to turn the ball over a couple times because of pressure.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to watch any Jaguars games this year?
Yeah, I went over 3 of them.
And, I mean, how does Lawrence look when throwing on the run? Does he do that often, or does he kind of like have his spots when he gets uncomfortable? I mean, can he roll out to his left and throw pretty accurate? Can he roll out to his right? I mean, can he kind of break that down for us?
He doesn't have very many weaknesses in that area. He can throw on the move fine. He's better in the pocket, but
obviously
you don't have a completion percentage of 70, like the last 6 weeks in the 70s. If you can't throw the ball from, all over
different points.
Yeah.
Man. I'm excited to watch that game just because I haven't got to see Trevor Lawrence or that offense, play any games this year. So I'm actually excited to watch them play.
I want to see them be very crappy for one game. Then they can be great the rest of the year.
Fair point, Mike. Okay, so Mike, after, a 7-game losing streak, what has changed about this Jaguars team? They've won 3 of their last 5.
Well, I think improved pass game. Trevor Lawrence not getting sacked, not turning the ball over. You don't make big bad plays passing the ball. That has to do with the improvement of Trevor Lawrence. And then they've improved their pass rush. They're one of the bottom 5 in the league overall. But over the last 3 weeks, they've been middle of the pack. They've moved their numbers at the middle of the pack. And last week, they were a top 3 pass rush unit in terms of sacks. They got 4 sacks on the Titans. So, improved pass rush and an improved offensive passing game is what, that's what that is about. Sorry.
I know there's not a Monday Night Football game on tonight, Mike. Is something interesting going on for the Lakers game, or we're watching wrestling? What's going on here?
No, nothing there. I just keep looking over at the TV. I forgot. Is there a Laker game on?
I know Luka and the Mavericks are up on the Trailblazers right now. We need a victory tonight, Mike.
Yeah, let's go, Luka. Come on. Luka's that's my second team. Hey, Lakers are on. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir. What's the score?
25 all, or at least tied.
Hey, you know what? I won't lie. I've been kind of impressed by the Lakers here. They've started to look pretty good, man. I wouldn't mind seeing them come together and have, another little run in the playoffs. It's always nice to see LeBron and good players in the playoffs, Mike.
Yeah, it is. It's the league's just even if they're not in it, this team's likely not to good enough to compete. But having Anthony Davis and LeBron in the playoffs, players like that, and helping them, get new people's names. Like, people don't know who Austin Reeves is,
Right.
And more people get eyes on players like that the way they did Caruso because they play big in big situations.
Right. Yeah, dude, if let's just say the Mavericks and Lakers face off in the playoff series, we have to do a Mavericks Lakers show, dude.
I would do that, although it would hurt because I really do like Luka is legitimately my favorite player right now in basketball, even though he's not on my favorite team. So I would root for the Lakers always, but man, I love Luka.
Dude, that'd be a fun matchup because Luka, man, that like LeBron, he grew up loving LeBron. I believe that's his favorite player.
Yeah, he plays that type of big man that can dribble the ball. So, and he's the most clutch. Golly, that guy just zero fear at all and just ice water in his
Yeah.
veins.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mike, back to the football discussion. Question was the Jags went from 7 straight to winning 3 out of the last 5. How? Mike, I was looking at the numbers, and they've done a good job of protecting the ball with only 2 turnovers in their last 4 games. At the same time, their defense has done a good job of getting the offense extra possessions with 11 turnovers in their last 6 games as well.
Oh, almost 2 turnovers a game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's
They had
nice.
4 against the Titans, dude.
That's a nice stat right there. Because on the flip side of that, Dallas been turning the ball over like crazy.
Yeah, Dak with the picks, man. I think he's had a pick every game in like the last 3 games, right?
Yes, correct. So, hey, let's not turn the ball over. Let's do that.
I'd like to see Dak have a clean game, man.
Me too. He needs 3 of the next 4 to be just about clean, to be rolling and riding high into the playoffs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mike, will we see Jacksonville use the same defense as the Houston Texans did? Or do you think that was kind of personnel-based for Houston?
No, I think they will. Things that work, that seem to be working, clog up the middle, run a cover 2, lots of zones.
Mm-hmm.
I think until Dallas shows they can win versus the zones as well as they do versus man, that's what they're going to see a lot of.
Yeah, like you, Mike, I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville and every team tried it. Last year, the Broncos gave other teams the formula to confuse Dak. Other teams could try what Houston did too.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, you're our Rain Man. I don't know too much about gambling. I know you've got a history of it. But when you look at this over under, it's 48. And the Jaguars +4. I want to ask you about the +4. The +4 is like if you bet Jaguars +4, that means that you don't think the Cowboys will win by more than 4, correct? And that's how you win money?
Yeah, either
Okay.
you believe Jacksonville will win straight out or they will lose by less than 4 points.
Okay. So, yeah, like if Jaguars lose by 3, you still win, correct?
Yes, correct.
For all our gamblers out there listening tonight.
There's a lot of them.
All right, Mike, over under at 48. Agree or disagree?
Man, that was a really good number by them. They nailed that number, man. You know what? I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna go over. I had it as under.
Oh, okay, really? Okay.
I had it as under, but
what made you have it as under, and why are you switching?
I just have a feeling. At first, I had a feeling that both defenses would show out early. But something tells me that the way the Cowboys played against Houston, they're going to want to jump out and play better. And the Jags aren't great at stopping the run or the pass. Like they're middle of the pack. I think they're 15th or 16th stopping the run, and they're bottom 5 stopping the pass. I just think Dallas might score a little early. And then Jaguars keep it close and everything, but then, in the second half, that Dallas pulls away. And I think they're going to go over 48.
Yeah, Mike, I was crunching the numbers, kind of like doing some research for these the over under here to make a better decision. And in 6 games at home, the Jaguars offense averages 18 points per game, but the defense allows 17 points per game. On the road, the Dallas offense averages 26 points per game. And their defense allows 17 points per game. So I'm kind of going bold here. I'm going to take the under, but I'm not going to lie. I'll probably contradict myself here in a little bit, but I went with the under earlier, and I'm going to stick
over
with it.
On your score. This guy. All you got to do a big hedge in your bets there.
I'm protecting my money, Mike.
Listen, gamblers, bet the under, all right? They're going under.
Hey.
Oh, yeah? What's the score? 31-28.
No, honestly, if I was gambling, if I was putting money on it, I would stick with the under, but my gut just kept saying something else.
That's pretty funny.
All right, Mike. Which player in this game do you think will score the most fantasy points?
Dak Prescott.
Oh, I like it.
Touchdowns. 250 yards passing, 3 TDs.
I like it. I liked it. Mike, I think I mentioned Travis Etienne will have a breakout game. However, I think Dak is due for a big game, and the Jaguars are a bottom 10 team versus the quarterback. So Dak is my pick as well, sir.
Nice. We're on the same page.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mike, what's your score prediction?
It's gonna go bad though for us. You know that, right?
Hey, let's hope not. Let's hope not. All right, Mike, what's your score prediction?
I'm gonna go. See, I had it as an under, but I didn't like it. I'm gonna go 33-23 Dallas.
Oh, 33-23 Dallas. I'm surprised though, a double-digit victory, man. I mean, you brought up a lot of good stats about the Jaguars, and I know this isn't like a rollover game by any means, but yeah, I'm kind of surprised. But like
It'll
you,
be
Mike,
closer than the score.
Yeah, I have Dallas scoring 30 points and the Jacksonville Jaguars scoring 21, so 51 point total, Mike.
So over 48 then?
Yeah, over 48. I said I was going to contradict myself. But no, seriously, guys, I don't know if anybody's listening to this looking for some gambling advice, but if I were betting money on it, I promise you I would bet the under. I don't know why. I think Dallas they're not going to like come out and just destroy the Jaguars, but I think they're going to expose their youth, if you will. And I think that the defense is going to be on fire after kind of, I don't want to say getting embarrassed, but wanting to prove that they're still like top tier.
So yeah, you're thinking more 28-17.
I mean, would you be surprised if like Trevor Lawrence threw 2 interceptions and we had a pick 6 in this game and maybe a fumble by ETN, like we had 3 turnovers?
No, not at all. It just feels like it could be a turnover game.
I'm not saying, and I was going to mention a similar game to like what happened with the Colts. Maybe not that like 30-point blowout in the fourth quarter, but where it's close and all of a sudden our defense kind of like takes it up a notch and we create some turnover, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think it's going to be – I think we're going to get up on them early.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to like get back in striking range,
Yeah.
And then we'll hit that last score to, put it away.
Because, if we go up and it's like 14-7 or 14-6, Doug Peterson, he's an aggressive guy, man. He doesn't hold back. And that aggressiveness could kind of come back to bite him with our defense.
I agree. I think I'm going to say it's something like 14-3 early.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we get a field goal, they get a touchdown type of thing. And then late, we're up by a certain amount. We hit a touchdown to like put us up double digits.
Let's say the Cowboys do win this game. I know the Jaguars aren't like a very good team right now. Their record shows that, but let's say we were to win, but let's say like 30-18 or something. Do you think that would be considered a signature win for this season?
I feel like signature win would be Bengals.
Yeah.
Signature win would be Vikings.
Yeah.
That's it. I think Philly would be your other one if you can beat Philly.
Okay, what about maybe not signature, but a big win?
Yeah, I consider it a big win. Jaguars are playing good right now. You got to travel to their house,
mm-hmm.
and you have Eagles upcoming, and you're trying to stay within that one game of the one game. So if you win yours, you're only one game off. So, yeah, I think it'd be a big win.
I agree with you, Mike. Good points there. I enjoyed the discussion tonight, sir.
Look at us. Look at this 30. What are we locked on Cowboys over here?
Hey, I like these kind of quick hit episodes just because I feel like we get a lot of good information out there, but we're not like trying to force anything.
Yeah, I agree. I try not to. I'm trying to control my babble.
You're doing a great job, sir.
I don't know that sound effect timing.
Thought I'd have the phone on mute. I didn't.
I was like, yeah, I'm trying not to talk. And Like, nope, you're failing, sir. You are failing miserably.
Do you not? Does that sound effect not sound familiar?
No, yeah, it's from the video game. Is it Zelda?
Womp 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 womp. You're eating fruit. You're eating cherries. You're eating bananas. You're trying not to get eaten. You're in a maze. There's a Mr. and a Mrs.
Pac-Man.
Hey, there you go, my friend.
Yeah, we're old. We're old. We know Pac-Man.
Hey, dude, that game was fun. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. It's awesome. That's why it's still around in arcades. People sit down and still play that game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mike. Let's try to keep the streak alive of under an hour on at least on Friday nights.
I agree. Let's do that. I'm 100% with you, sir.
Well, sir, before we get you out of here, remind the people where they can find you on Twitter.
Letter D, letter C, blip, 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 blip. Letter C, letter D, Piglet. Nice and easy, unlike what I just did.
Yes, sir. Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Damn, we're killing the speed here.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what the score of the Niners Seahawks game was?
I believe it was 21-13, but I will check for you. Why do you ask?
I have to write it in my. I do all my picks, and then I write down the totals and everything, and go back over people's like last 3 games, see how they're playing. Are we still on? Yeah, we are. We're still on.
We are?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I could have swore I ended it.